Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Disgruntled Yid show. I am your host, Moshe, otherwise known as the Disgruntled Yid. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's having a good week. I didn't do a video last couple weeks because there's some stuff going on. Nothing bad. Okay. My cat is talking to the air conditioner, so that's fun. You're weird. Anyway, you guys want to see him? That's Muffin. Say hi. What are you doing? What are you doing, silly? You're so silly. Anyway, I love my kitty. Anyway, so what I want to talk about this week, there's a couple things I want to talk about. So you guys know that one of my weird little things is I find these people online who I hate, and I argue with them. It's fun. It's fun. It's really fun, especially because I don't really care about what they think of me, or if I'm even going to change their mind. Most of the time, I just assume I'm not. So I'm not my point is not to actually change their mind. My point is to do two things. One, to piss them off because it makes me laugh, and two, that there might be somebody in their audience who's not such a complete and total brainwashed, loser that believes in their stupid propaganda, conspiracy theory garbage, and all their anti-Semitic, hateful bullshit. There might be someone out there who's open-minded enough that might read one of my comments and be like, even if they see my comment and they're like, oh, that fucking, J-E-W, they'll be like, oh, but still, it might make them think and plant a seed of doubt in their heads. And so what I do is my approach is sometimes if I'm in the mood, I just go full out. I'm like, you're a stupid asshole, you're a moron, you don't know what you're talking about, Or sometimes I will be a little more sophisticated, and I will throw in a little jibe at them, and a little intellectualism, a little sophistication, Like I'll throw in some historical fact or something and be like, deal with that, bitch. So, most of the time they don't even respond. I don't even think they even see them. I think they may see one of my comments once and be like, oh, great. And then they put me somehow that the algorithm pushes my comments down. Or maybe there's an ignore so that they never see my comments because they never reply back, which is fine. The point is not to get them to reply back. When they do, it's awesome because it's like, oh, what are they gonna say? I love it. It's like, oh, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna come up with, right? But that's not the point. The point's not to change anybody's mind. It's not to actually educate anybody. The point is, once again, to piss them off because it's fun and it makes me laugh. And, I mean, they're garbage. They're garbage people. These are people that promote bigotry and hatred and racism. And the worst of them, they try to dress it up in all this, big language and sophisticated, intellectual sort of system. And, you guys know the one I've been obsessing over recently is this guy, Arthur Kwan-Lee. Oh, man, he is just... I love him. I love watching his stuff because I hate it so much. I love to hate watch this guy. It's great. The shit that he comes up with. Well, you guys know I've already done a few videos. I don't need to belabor that point. But it's just, it's delicious. I mean, it's to the point that I don't even really think he believes in most of it. I think he's just trolling. I really do. I don't, because I can tell that he's not a stupid person. from the way he talks, he's not dumb. So, I don't think that I think he's trolling. I don't think he really believes any of it. I think he's just trolling for attention, you know? But yeah, no, the reason I'm talking about that is that I just sent him a comment. What I do is I comment bomb him. I do this to other people too. I'll go to like 6 or 8 or 10 of their videos, and I'll leave like a good comment under one, and then I'll copy and paste it. I'll copy it, and then I'll just go to other videos of theirs and just paste it. Even if it's not relevant to the video itself, I just paste it because I just want to get their attention to see if they'll take the bait and they'll read it. Because I like shit posting. What can I say? That's one of the reasons God put me on this earth, was to shit post Jew haters and anti-Semites. It's fun. But the one that I'm doing now, that I'm shit posting now on his comments, he keeps saying this. He says this all the time. It's like his main thing. It's like the main thing. He says it like in every video. He keeps saying that the Jews call us goyim, which means cattle, because that's what they think of us. They think we're nothing but cattle. Okay, well, first of all, in Judaism, we teach benevolence for animals. Even though God has allowed us, in Judaism, we believe God's allowed human beings to eat meat, but even then, it has to be done in the way, the Jewish way, which is called shechita, and the idea behind it is that you cut the windpipe, I think, in the jugular, like the main artery, whatever it is. You do it in one sudden, quick, so that the animal bleeds out instantly, loses consciousness as soon as possible. And the point behind this is because even though God has given us permission to eat animals, even then, when we slaughter them, it has to be in this special way, which is made to minimize cruelty to them. And that's not all of kosher. I mean, kosher also includes treating the animal properly before it's slaughtered. I mean, an animal that came from an abused place, like an animal that's been treated the way animals are commonly treated on commercial factory farms, is not kosher. It's just not. It's not. It's just treif. It's mamish treif. It's for real. Mamish is a Jewish word. It means like for real, or like definitely, or absolutely. Like, mamish means that like you mean it, you know. And yeah. That is the whole purpose behind it. And yeah, animals that come from factory farms that have suffered in those conditions are treif. They're not kosher. And there were scandals because there were kosher places, there were very well known kosher companies that it found out that they were certifying these animals because they were shechted, they were slaughtered in the kosher style, but they came from farms where they were abused, or they lived in substandard conditions that actually, in reality, actually did make them treif in the long run. So that was a whole scandal, particularly with Rabashkins. If you guys remember, there was that whole thing. In fact, that thing was so bad, I heard that they weren't even shechita. I heard that they were just like literally like just hiring like undocumented immigrants, undocumented workers. I don't know, whatever the PC term is for illegal immigrants nowadays. Because that's what they are. They're illegal immigrants. They're immigrants to this country, and we told them they can't come in, or we tell people you could come in, but you have to do it according to our laws, and they decided not to do it according to our laws. Ergo, they're breaking the law. They're breaking our laws. And they're immigrants, ergo, they're illegal immigrants. That's all that means. It doesn't mean... It's so funny because people think like, oh, you use the term illegal immigrants, that must mean that you hate Mexicans and that you just want everyone to speak English, right? I bet you hear people speak Spanish and you go, why can't you just learn English? Well, no, I don't do that. And I don't hate Mexicans. In fact, I don't hate any race of people. Actually, it's funny, I was just talking about Arthur Quan Lee, right? Because in one of his videos, he sarcastically says, I love all people. Because we clearly know that he doesn't, because he fucking hates Jews. And it's funny because he says, I love all people. Yeah, the difference is when I say it, I really do love all people. I don't hate any group of people for any religious, political, I mean, yeah, obviously I hate, like, Nazis and people like that, so, but I mean, I don't just meet someone, hear their politics, and immediately hate them for it, depending on who they are. If I meet somebody and they go, I'm a National Socialist, aka a Nazi, I'm not going to be like, oh, I bet this person will be my best friend. Obviously, no. I'm like, oh, well, I automatically don't like you now. But that's because he said he's a fucking Nazi, you know? I mean, you know, because some people might be, well, Moshe, that's very close-minded of you. Oh, yes, you're right. It's so close-minded of me to not hate racist bigots who make it their life's work to ruin the lives of people who are not them, who try to ruin the lives of people for immutable characteristics that they cannot change and that really ultimately bear little to no value on their lives, but they hate them for it. You know, whether it's because of their skin color, or, you know, their religion, or their ethnicity, or their nationality, their nationality, or their place of national origin, whatever it is. I don't hate anybody for any of that stuff. In fact, I don't even mind most politics. I have friends who are liberals. In fact, probably most of my friends are liberals. I nowadays have started calling myself a small c conservative, because basically what I mean by that is, I believe the values that we now currently have, that we call Western values, I believe that those are indispensable, and they need to be defended, and that they are literally the bedrock of human civilization. Every culture in the world, even Eastern cultures, have adopted so much from Western culture, not because Western culture is somehow better than everybody else just because of their race or whatever. No, that's all garbage. That's all bullshit. But the fact is that Western culture is superior to other cultures in many ways. And I don't mean superior as in they're garbage and we're the best. No, I mean like objectively, like measurably. I mean, for example, most third world countries don't have the kind of road infrastructure and design that we do in Western cultures, and that's why in a lot of third world countries they don't have paved roads. And paved roads, obviously, are superior to regular non-paved roads like mud roads or dirt roads, because they provide a path, they provide ease of access for people to get around. I mean, there's so many reasons objectively why that's good. And that doesn't mean, well, countries that have those roads are the good countries, and the countries that don't have paved, structured roads, those are the shit countries, and we should hate them for it. No, nothing like that. That's ridiculous. No. But it is objectively true that paved roads are better than regular dirt roads, or no roads at all for that matter. That's the point I'm trying to make. So Western culture and Western values I shouldn't say culture, Western values are superior to non-Western values. When in the place of things like morality and stuff like that. I'm not saying religion or culture. Religiously or culturally, it's whatever. It's whatever your culture is, That's, I mean, if your culture teaches things that are immoral, that are bad things, like if you come from a culture like Nazi Germany that says to go out and kill Jews and murder all non-Aryans and try to dominate the world and enslave and exterminate people whose bloodline does not match yours, yes, obviously I would say that's a bad culture. But just because a culture is different doesn't, I don't think it's bad or of lesser value or anything like that. I don't think, for example, like I just said, I love Western values. That doesn't mean I hate Eastern cultures. In fact, I admire Eastern cultures for a lot of things. I admire Eastern religion. There's things in Eastern religion that I've accepted into my world philosophy that I think that makes sense. Um, uh, an example of which would be the idea of like a universal truth. That there are many small truths, but there is one larger universal truth that everything and everyone adheres to. Which you might say, how is that an Eastern value? Because I believe that that truth can be understood in different ways by different people, but at the end of the day, it's still a truth across all cultures, which is an Eastern concept. Whereas Western concepts, like for example, Western religion, what's primarily Christianity, is usually very dismissive and of other cultures. No, they're demonic, they're evil, they're wrong if they're not us. You know, we have the truth, and we need to bring the truth to the heathens. Whereas the Eastern thought is there is one grand universal truth, many ways of understanding it, nobody has a monopoly on it. And I agree with that part. That's actually also what Judaism teaches. Judaism doesn't teach that it alone has the only supreme truth. Judaism does teach that... Okay, excuse me. Thank you. Judaism does teach that it does, like for example, Judaism doesn't teach other religions are true. It only teaches that Judaism is true, just like all religions. But it doesn't say that other people's religions are bad, or that they're condemned, or that God hates them, or anything like that. We don't teach that in Judaism. And, as I've said multiple times, in Judaism, people are often surprised that we also, unlike Christianity and Islam, we don't believe that you have to be part of our religion to go to heaven. We believe that if you love God, and you're a good person, and what does it mean to be a good person? You're kind, you follow morals. Okay, you say, well, fine, then where do they get the morals from to follow? That they get from the Torah. Oh, well, so there you go. You're saying the Torah is superior to other cultures. No, I'm saying the Torah's morality is superior to all other to human morality for sure, but I believe that that's the basis of ethics and of morality, but I don't believe that you necessarily have to be a Jew to have those moral characteristics. You don't have to be a Jew to stand up for the oppressed, to feed the sick, to feed the hungry, to heal the sick, to care for the ill, to stand up for the downtrodden, to comfort the widow, to create a more just society where all people are seen as that every person's deserving of a certain amount of dignity and respect, because all human beings, every single human being, every last one, every human on this planet deserves a certain amount of respect and decency to be practiced towards them, because we're all made in God's image, and therefore we all inherently have divine worth and value. Even people that I hate, and people, for example, pedos, people that like to diddle kids, people like that. I hate those people. I think I literally call them subhuman animals, because they are. Because as I talked about in a previous video, psychologically, their brains don't function like 99% of humanity. 99% of people, of like normal human beings, are not sexually, I don't want to say the word because I only get censored on YouTube or whatever, but sexually attracted to children. That's not normal. It's not psychologically normal to have, like, when you look at someone attractive, that you find attractive, and you have, I'm not going to get crude, but, you know, you have that thought in your head, that little tickle, 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 and it creates a response in your body that involves, if you're a male, blood flow and engorgement, let's just say. And that's your natural physiological response. You can't, it's like a switch. It's like a switch, but you can't turn it off. So most people, when they see something that does that excites them, that gets that physiological response from their brain to their other parts of them to get excited, that's totally normal and healthy. That's the way God made our bodies. But if you're over puberty, if you're past puberty, your mind, you're psychologically, it's only healthy to be attracted to people either above or within your immediate age group. And at that point, I mean post puberty. So post-pubescent, I think it's the term, because prepubescent would be younger, right? So post-pubescent people, so physically mature adults. Sorry, I have to keep moving him. They with physically mature adults. Oh yeah, so they have that that response, and it's not normal. It's not psychologically healthy, or sensible or normal for them to have that feeling towards prepubescent children, towards prepubescent humans. And I say prepubescent humans because I'm trying to make it sound as clinically and psychological as possible, because I'm not saying this stuff at this exact moment from a moral standpoint. I'm strictly talking about the science of it. Just the nuts and bolts, if you will. Now, when it comes to the morality of it, because that's the science, because that's the way our bodies are created and our minds are made, right? Because of that, it's because of that reason that we find the very, very few people, the very small percentage of human beings who do have those feelings, who are themselves post-pubescent, who are physically mature adults now. Whether we're talking about a 90-year-old or a 19-year-old, still, the point is they're physically mature now. And so psychologically and physically and physiologically, they need to be attracted to other post-pubescent people. And then the very small part of human beings who are sexually attracted to prepubescent humans, those people, their brains are broken. Like, it's literally like getting a lemon. Like a lemon, it's a term that we use for like a bad car, like a car that doesn't live up to expectations, or I think sometimes there may be two separate words. I don't know a lot about cars, but I think sometimes people always will sometimes call it a clunker, right? Especially if it's like a big old, like, big old truck. I don't know why I'm doing this for a truck, but like a big rig, like yeah, 10-4, buddy, let's go through the swamps. We gotta get that shipment. We got that shipment over Walmart. We just ride the open road on that motherfucker, just trucking, sipping coffee, fucking taking meth. that they got from their buddy behind a gas station. You know. And I forgot where I was going with all that. Oh yeah, it's not about truckers. I have no idea where I was going with that. I lost the plot in the middle. But why did I start talking about truckers? Oh, because I was on. Okay, anyway, the point is, you know, shit, I lost the plot. There was a point to all of that about truckers that I was bringing up, and now I don't remember what my point was. But yeah, okay, so, but because of that, because that's the case, therefore it makes sense that our morality would abhor people who don't fit that standard. Not because they're different in and of itself, but because that difference causes a clear and present danger to children. So I'm sorry, I've talked about that in other videos. I don't know why I just belabored all that. I didn't need to believe at that point. But hey, you know what? It's out there, so fuck it. The second thing I want to talk about is really the main thing I'd like to talk about is the incredible news that we've been seeing coming out of the Middle East. I'm sure everybody knows by now, of course, that the Ayatollah of Iran, the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is dead. That's right, he's fucking D-E-A-D, dead. Bye, bitch. Boom. I want to do a mic drop. I don't have a mic. Okay. Here's my mic drop. Bam. And you know what the craziest thing about this is? It's not that it happened, although that is obviously crazy. It's the responses to it are just... What? Okay, so there's like 3 different responses to this. One is obviously joy and jubilation. All over the world, Iranian people, and of course in Iran itself, have taken to the streets, literally by the millions, and are celebrating, and dancing, and singing, and cheering. I mean, there's literally literally a video I saw of a woman who was so happy and so excited when she found out that Khamenei was dead and he'd been killed. She couldn't stop jumping up and down like, yay, yes, he's dead, yes. And why? Because now that this evil tyrant is gone, the people of Iran can finally be free again. You know, before the 1970s, before the Islamic Revolution, Iran was a pretty dope country. It really was. It was modern. It was Western. You know, yes, they had a king. They had the Shah. And yes, he had his problems. He was not perfect. And yes, he did abuse the people for sure. But compared to what came after him, to the Islamic regime, they're like two totally, they literally are two completely different worlds. The Iran of 1979 was completely different, post 1979, was completely different, well, until now, from the early Iran. I mean, if anybody's read the graphic novel or seen the movie version of it, Persepolis, about the young girl and her life in Iran, living through the revolution, and then seeing how everything changed, you know, that's all a true story. That one story is the story of one girl, true, but in a way, it's also the story of millions of Persian girls, of Iranian girls, whose lives were basically destroyed by the revolution. Women had absolutely no freedom whatsoever in that country. I mean, it was to the point where Khomeini was literally ordering women, not that didn't have their hair covered, but didn't have their hair covered properly by their hijab, which is the name of the covering that religious Muslim women wear, that even if a little bit of their hair was showing out of their hijab, he would kill them. Not flog them, not jail, not humiliation. No, he would kill them for showing their hair. That's not fucking normal. But he's dead. He's gone. He's finally gone. And you know another great thing about this? There's so many great things about this. Another really great thing about this. Oh, I should say. Let me finish talking about the three groups of people. So there's the people they're so super happy and celebrating, right? Jews, Iranians, Israelis, probably Armenians, because pretty much anybody that the regime ever oppressed. And then there is people who people celebrating. Then there's of course, as you always have, the people that just either don't care or don't know anything about this. Like, you bring this up to them and you're like, do you hear what happened? Oh, what? What do you mean, what? It's like the biggest news in the world right now. Oh, what are you referring to? That's the supreme leader, and I shouldn't even have to finish the sentence. I just say supreme, and you should be like, oh, I already know what you're going to say. But it's like the supreme leader of Iran. They killed him. He's gone. The head of the evil regime, the evil Islamic regime of Iran, that held 91 million Persian people hostage to their Islamo-supremacist, theocratic, insane, crazy jihadist government for almost the last 50 years, for the last 47 years, are finally free. And most people are like, oh, that's interesting. I want to slap these people. I'm not advocating violence, and no, I wouldn't actually do it. But I kind of want to, because it's like, why don't you get why this is a big deal? Another reason why it's a big deal is, as we all know, the Ayatollah and the regime were the main sponsors of terrorism in the whole world. The entire world. I don't know if it's all of them. I don't think it's all of them, but a lot of Islamo-supremacist groups were being, excuse me, kind of tired. I'm always tired though, that's my nature. A lot of Islamo-supremacist groups were being supported and funded by Iran. The Ayatollah was literally their sugar daddy. Well, guess what, baby? That bitch is dead. So that gravy train is no more. No more money for the Houthis. No more money for Hamas. No more money for Hezbollah. No more money for PIJ. No more money for PFLP. No more money for Tanzim. No more money for Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade. No more money for, what's the other one? No more money for, I don't know, what's another one that they fund? the various branches of the Muslim Brotherhood, which I'm sure that they back. I mean, Hamas was literally founded as the Gaza chapter of the Muslim Brotherhood, which, if you guys don't know, the Muslim Brotherhood is the first organized group of jihadis. They were inspired by a political philosophy, by an Islamist, Islamo-supremacist thinker called, I forget his first name, but his last name is Qutb, and his thoughts are often referred to as Qutbism. And his whole ideology basically was that we meaning Arabs and Muslims more broadly, well, he was talking about Arabs specifically, but more broadly he meant all Muslims, that they should throw off colonial rule and throw off all Western rule and Western interference and influence, and that rather than having like Islam, the religion, and then politics, the politics should be based on Islam. Islam should be not only a religion, but should function should function as a factor in every phase of a person's life, including the state and politics as well. And these people, the people that were inspired by this thought, later went on to create, the very first jihadist group, the very first Islamic terrorists or radical Islamic extremists, and it was the Muslim Brotherhood. And the reason that it was so attractive to so many people was because of this concept of, oh, we're going to overthrow the Western imperial elites, and we're going to take our land back, and we're going to have a proud, strong, successful Islamic civilization. That was the ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood. And the idea was that the Muslim Brotherhood would then spread out through the whole Middle East and found different chapters in different Muslim countries, all with the ultimate goal of taking over the Middle East and creating an international caliphate to rule over, to create basically an Islamic empire, which would be ruled by a caliph, who would be in charge of all of it. He would be in charge of the Ummah, the Muslim world, and then they would then take it even further and go on and claim the rest of the world. Whereas now that they've made all of the Middle East and all of the Muslim countries Dar al-Islam, the House of Islam, that now, or the lands of Muhammad that belong to the followers of Muhammad, now that they've done that, the international caliphate can then go take on the broader world and fight the Dar al-Harb, which means the abode of war, or the house of the sword, which is the title given to all non-Islamic lands, with the purpose of conquering those lands and forcing them to become Islamic, and thereby creating an international global caliphate, and in which Islam will become the one and only supreme and dominant religion of all of mankind, and will then influence every facet of life, from religion to politics to family to economics to culture to cuisine to everything and anything, and that's the goal of it. And the idea of the Iranian regime was the only independent Shia state. All other Muslim countries are either mixes of Sunni and Shia, like in Iraq, or they're mostly Sunni. Iran was different though, because Iran was taken over by radical Shias. And so not only did Iran want to dominate and create the world's caliphate, the global caliphate, they also wanted to dominate and become, they also wanted to dominate and become basically they wanted to be the representatives or the vanguard of the Shia Muslim world. They wanted to be the head of all the Shia Muslims and to make Iran basically not only a empire in the political sense, but religiously to impose Shia Islam on all other Muslims and ultimately, of course, on the whole world. But before they get to the whole world part, they at least wanted to become the representatives of Shia Islam. And not only did they want to become the representatives of it, but they wanted to make it the dominant version of Islam and to destroy and conquer all other religions and all other versions of Islam. And the regime, the Iranian regime, wanted to be the ones in charge of this, and they wanted to be the ones at the forefront of it. And sometimes they would throw in stuff about Iranian national pride and Persian pride, but very rarely. They do that because they know it would get people riled up. But mostly it was mostly about the Shia Muslim thing. It was mostly about the religious fundamentalism more than any sort of real nationalism or anything like that. But now he is dead. The Ayatollah is dead. And so I mentioned two groups of people, right, already. One group who are happy that he's dead. One group who, it's like they don't even know what's going on. They're like, what? What's happening in the news? Only the biggest fucking thing, ever. But what I wanted to get to was, I already kind of mentioned how they were the chief backers. The Iranian regime were basically the chief backers for not every terrorist group, but a lot of them, and some of the biggest, most popular ones. But even keep this in mind too: their entire military, which was known as the IRGC, which stood for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. That's corps military, CORP, not corps as in CORE, but CORPE, corps. Or is it CORP without an E? I think it's without an E. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean. So the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is the name of their military, get this, is a terrorist group prescribed by so many countries. That means their entire military, their navy, their air force, and their foot soldiers, everybody, everyone, and by the way, their intelligence agencies as well, are all of them are a terrorist group. The entire military of Iran is a terrorist military. The entire military of Iran is a terrorist group unto itself that funds many of the others. So what that means is that you have Hamas, you have ISIS, you have Hezbollah, IRGC, you have Hamas, Hezbollah, Tanzim, PIJ, PFLP, Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, monotheism, the movement for monotheism in Iraq. I forget what the Arabic name of it is, which eventually turned into the Al-Qaeda of Iraq, which was Zarqawi, the guy that was cutting off all the people's heads. All of those groups, which means all of those groups, these are all terrorist organizations in different countries around the world, And Iran's entire military is amongst them, making Iran's military the largest and most powerful terrorist group on earth. Because they literally own a whole fucking country of 91 million people that they have power over. Okay? And we're defeating them. The Kurds are invading, have started invading by foot from outside of Iran. The Israelis and the Americans have killed thousands of IRGC members. They've killed the supreme leader himself, the top guy, the guy who was not only the head of Iran, not only the head of the IRGC, an entire nationwide military which is designated as a terrorist organization, but even all the other terrorist groups were sucking off his teeth. He was kind of their sugar daddy. Not every other terrorist group on earth were getting that from Iran, but a lot of them, including some of the biggest ones, were, and now that's gone. That's all gone. That's all been destroyed. Which means, think of how much terrorism has been stopped now because of this. It's not going to be all peace and love and popsicles and joy and dancing and candy and kumbaya. There's a long slog ahead, for sure, with much bloodshed and much chaos and much violence. Trust me, we haven't seen the end of it, not even close. But we've seen a big development, something that even 5 or 10 years ago we could have only dreamed of happening, is happening in real time. And it's mind-blowing. But lastly, the very last thing I want to talk about, and then I gotta get my laundry and finish getting ready for Shabbos, is the third group of people, who perhaps are the people who drive me the most insane. And these are the people who praise and mourn, they praise Iran, and they're mourning the death of the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the crazy guy who's trying to get nuclear weapons so that he can fulfill his open and apologetic and in no way hidden or filtered agenda of wanting to destroy America and Israel, like physically, like nuking us, like killing tens of millions of innocent people, of starting a conflict or that could possibly engulf and destroy the entire world, or if not, at least send the world into complete madness and chaos, and another horrible war, like the likes of which we haven't seen since World War II, the end of World War II. All of that shit, the guy and the people responsible have been stopped. They've been crushed. They were not allowed to get a nuclear bomb. We stopped them in their tracks before they could cause more problems, and before they could do even worse than what they've already done. And what is the reaction to like this in this third group of people that I'm referring to? They're mourning him, like they're mourning the Ayatollah, like he was some sort of hero. There's vigils. There's people going on TV like, oh, the noble leader, the supreme, great, honorable. Fuck that shit. This guy was a murderer. This guy had so much innocent blood on his hands. It's amazing he didn't wake up every morning and dive into a giant vault filled with blood of his victims, the way Scrooge McDuck would dive into coins. I mean, we're talking about a monster, literally a modern day Hitler, he's Bin Laden. You thought Bin Laden was bad? This guy, Bin Laden, is small potatoes. Bin Laden is fucking nothing compared to the Ayatollah and what he did and what his reach was and what power he had. Bin Laden, Bin Laden, get lost. Bin Laden, go fuck yourself. Bin Laden, please. We're talking about the Ayatollah. He's literally got an entire nation's military at his disposal. And he's actively and intentionally, and not even in any way really even hiding it that much, trying to acquire nuclear weapons for his stated goal of the physical annihilation of Israel and the United States, and ultimately the Jewish people and Europe. Because he wants to take over the world and create a global caliphate run by strict, fanatical, extremist, Islamo-supremacist interpretation of Shia Islam that he believes in. And that's not going to happen now. Because he's fucking dead! Yes! And, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit gross and crude here, but I feel this is warranted. The next time I take a dump, I'm going to stand up, turn around, look down at the dump, and go, "Hi, Ali Khamenei," and then I'm going to go, "Bye," and flush that shit straight down the tubes where he belongs, and where people like that monster belong. You know, some people may say I'm being too harsh. Why are you being so harsh on him? Yeah, Moshe. Why are you being so hard on a genocidal, bloodthirsty, egomaniacal, religious extremist, bigoted lunatic? Why are you being so hard on him? You know, the guy who literally gets funded for decades, operations that have killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people, including many Americans. I mean, in America, up until all the woke shit started, in America there were certain things that almost everybody agreed on. And one of those things was we love the troops. We love our troops. You hear it all the time. I mean, not so much anymore, although it's coming back now that woke is dying. But during the tyrannical years of wokeism, you didn't hear it as much. But even then, you still heard patriotism, or not patriotism, but love for the troops. You know, support for the military. We love the men and women who go and risk their lives to fight and defend and ensure our freedoms, to keep us safe from threats and criminals and violence and enemies, both foreign and domestic. That is their job, and we love them for it, and we honor them for it, and we appreciate their sacrifice for it, right? I mean, America is a country who loves their troops. That's just the way it is. Now, there's a lot of loonies, particularly on the left, who don't love the troops, who are psychopaths, but, you know, we're not getting into that. That's not the purpose of this video. We can talk about them another time. No, what I'm thinking of, what I'm referring to, is it's not even a left or right or liberal conservative. It wasn't even that. It was literally everybody agreed. We appreciate the sacrifices that our military do to ensure our freedom and our security, once again, from enemies, both foreign and domestic. We love the troops. That's just who we are as a nation. Okay? Now, given that we've just said all of that, do you know how many American troops, either directly or indirectly through Iran's proxies, have been victims of the regime. And if you don't like, if this is still too big and still too theoretical for you, let me break it down much better. Go to a family. Let's say, their father is down. He died. He died in battle. They go and they do the whole official thing. Suit, and hat. They sit down. They say, we're here to give you some really difficult news. We hate to say it, but your husband, he was fighting and he died in battle. And he's gone. He's dead. Imagine a little girl or a little boy, whatever. They've lost their father, a wife. Let's say she's a young wife with 3 kids, right? And they don't make that much, let's say, and they're struggling. And now, not only has she lost the love of her life, but now she has to raise those 3 kids alone